I'm Michael Sean Harris, and you're listening to Mike's Moment of, a weekly podcast in which I, along with my guests, share our various interests in moments of inspiration, truth, life, technology, culture, and more. I hope you're entertained and informed, and that you feel inspired to join me again and again in my moments of. All right, so welcome to another episode of Mike's Moment of. This is episode 29. We're in the, well, they're not so cool right now. We're up in the hills, Stony Hills. Yeah, hanging with two friends. You know, you met Shawna already.
Hello.
Shawna K. Burns. And then this other friend is someone that I've wanted on the podcast for a while, and I'm going to have him again with other people. But Karl Brian Williams, who's Jamaican but visiting from New York. And we haven't all been in the same space in a while.
For a while.
For a good while. True. So we're going to see where this one takes us. I mean, we're just gonna go. We'll talk. Go. So, Karl, how you do?
Riffing, I'm good. I'm very good. It's always good to be in Jamaica, though this is going to cut short. But, you know, I have to come on my yard every now and again.
I agree.
So I'm very happy to be here.
Yay. Cool. Shawna, everything all right?
Everything all right.
You ready for the new semester?
Not really, but I'm not excited about being online again, only because I'm not that personality. Oh. But considering time it is, and I guess it's broadening our horizons for knowing how to be an online teacher.
Yeah, I'm excited about online, I have to tell you.
You would be.
Yeah, man. I know that they're not ready. I know that maybe the students aren't fully ready either, because they just don't have some of the stuff that they need to be comfortable online. But I'm excited about being online.
Yeah, I'm trying to embrace it more, right? Trying to lean in. But let me tell you, the way I teach, even in person, like transitioning that to a Zoom space, I feel extra tired.
I was just about to say that.
Because I'm giving the same energy and even more. I feel
You're
like
giving
I'm
more
pushing
energy.
more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's like, and yeah, you know, I'm trying to tell myself, all right, design activities just for online. You don't have to do everything in the space the same way you do it. Just lean in, because I feel like the more you can transmit your level of comfort, is the better it is for the students.
Right. Yeah. I just realized that nobody knows what we all do. I mean, they might know. We're all theatre people. We're all theatre people, and we all teach. And there's a lot of things that we all do. Same. So, Karl, where you teach and what you teach?
A number of places. Right. So right now I'm at the Borough of Manhattan Community College. I coordinate the theatre program there. I'm deputy chair, Department of Speech, Communication, and Theatre Arts. Right. So I teach a number of theatre courses, but I teach across the disciplines. So I teach communication courses. I teach speech courses. Shout out to my background, because Jamaica give me that background.
Yes.
And and I teach theater also at NYU at Steinhardt.
Okay.
In the educational program there. We're not doing that this semester, but I'm back again teaching that intro to acting course. And for a long time I was just doing teaching artist stuff, social justice theater. Yeah, lots of theater.
Okay. And Shawna?
I teach social work at UWI Mona. I teach social work other places as well. But it's funny, because right now my research interests, I'm doing the PhD in gender and development. My most recent research interest, though, has been in that kind of the coming together of social justice theater and social work. So, you know, so it's kind of like bringing together the two sides of my life. And it's interesting because I kind of found some stuff that social work, how it happens in Jamaica, has always involved theater.
Really?
Always. From whether it is community theater, radio series, drama. Because if you think about it, all we did grow with oh God, you know those radio series, Under the Law, all of those radio series one that used
Uptown,
to happen
Downtown.
on RJR.
I was actually in Uptown Downtown.
Were you very good? Because it's something that apparently, and it's also something that's very present in different countries in Africa. So I think it's just something about African diaspora and Africans who, it's true, because if you want us to learn something, you have to theater it. Yeah. You have to story it. You have to give us in a story form. So we sit down as the radio drama from coming from a Miss Lou who, you know, the government and I think shout out to Dele Harris who I learned this information from listening to one of her lectures that when they wanted to bring across some behavior change things, that was kind of like one of Miss Lou's programs on I don't know if it was RJR at the time that used to come across, and it was obviously done very stylized. So it always was like that. So it's kind of one of my new things now to develop and kind of write up. Please, Lord, give me the discipline to write it up, to kind of put it out there. So that's where I'm at now. And I'm never out of my gender space because all of it run together for me.
Oh, yeah.
But it's so funny that we've been doing it, like Miss Lou has been doing it forever. But why is it so hard for the government to understand that STEAM versus a STEM in the schools? That I mean, it's everything is devoid of the arts in the the plain education.
Oh my God, that is for a separate conversation. We're not even going to get into that. But I tell people what my big pushback is, right? Every time people ask me, so how you can make money off of it? I said, stop asking artists that. Artists always find a way to make money.
Yes.
Everything I've done, I say in every classroom, I said, everything I've done to this point has been arts related. I am not starving. I don't have a big house. But how many people have a big house? Like even the people that start in a bank, you know, I said to myself, boy, if you think, what is the pinnacle of your career? Because people hear that you act and you're in theater. So let me say, have you been on Broadway? I said, have you been in the Wall Street Journal?
Yes.
Have you been on the cover of Forbes? Don't come at me with, have I been on Broadway? And because I can point to all the people who I have inspired, influenced, taught, who have been on Broadway. There are friends that we all know in common here who have been on Broadway, who have been on the West End.
That's it. We know those people. Can you name people who have been on Wall Street? Because we know them.
Like, who is in your network? Because I know the people in my network. And my network is constantly expanding. And plus, I see myself as a global artist.
Exactly.
So maybe I'm not on Broadway yet. Because, you know, when you think about even an artist like Andre de Shields, who originated the role of The Wiz in 1975, in his 70s, he collected his first Tony last year.
Come on now.
Okay?
Yes.
So when you think about a career, you have to think about longevity. Are you in it? Is it just, if it's just a job, it's just a job. Because we all can get one job. We can't get one work tomorrow. Right? That is not. But you think about a career. How many times do you change careers in your lifespan? Or how many things do you do in your life that is leading to something else? Every job I've ever gotten, I've sat beside someone in a classroom or because someone I've lived well with and know. So there's something about it's a little unfair to always be thinking about the arts, and the first thing people got to is, but can you make a living? What is making a living? Like, expand your mind.
What is having a good career? Because I mean, just because somebody's been on Broadway and somebody hasn't doesn't mean the person who hasn't been on Broadway
doesn't have
not
a good
legitimate.
career.
Just because I don't have a Grammy doesn't mean that what I'm doing is not legitimate.
This is the thing. So you're discrediting. I even said to people when I teach people in the United States, I'm like, there are 50 states, right? Are you seriously telling me that if you're doing theater for all your life and you've never been to that geographical location in New York City, that you're a failure because you've not made it there? Is that what you're really telling me? And are you really looking at the artists yourselves who decide to make it in Jamaica that what? You're not successful? We have to expand what success looks like.
We really do.
It really is in this tiny box of success looks like this particular house in this particular place in Jamaica, this particular car, this particular this. Like, get out of here. I'm sorry. How many are even happy? Right? How many are even happy? How many people have law degrees and then they decide that, okay, I'm not even going to study law anymore? I need to do something else.
Which legit happens.
The amount of people that pop up with podcasts all over the place that really, that the people that I know you could call name that are now leaning into the arts.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you know what? I think I want to interior design. I think I want to be fashionable. I think I want to create something to expand people's mind at the arts. That's
Yes.
where it comes from.
The arts.
So you're spending money on your big law degree, your big business degree, but where you do with it?
Yeah.
What are you doing with that?
True.
And I mean, I think you had to ask the question between why is it that government don't recognize it. I think for a lot of the times, especially here, and I know worldwide it's a thing too, people somehow, it's changing now, but a lot of people are still stuck in this. This is a side. Arts is a side thing. It's not what you do for your life. Meanwhile, artists live full, ranging, wonderful lives, and you who are doing a serious job is stuck, unhappy, sad, and kind of lives for the weekend.
But then what is a serious job? Because nowadays you're not training anybody I'm talking to about entering arts, or whether it's an actor or somebody else. I mean, come on, look at what's happening right now. If you are putting together an audition tape, audition recording, what are the skills that involves in right now? You're not just acting. You have to get into post-production.
Right.
You have to get into marketing. You have to get into business. You have to get into see yourself. You know, we know this woman, Dr. Hume Johnson, her big thing is brand new. It's a serious thing, right? What is your brand? And if you don't want to think of yourself as a commodity or a brand, then how are you thinking of yourself? Because if you say that you're writing, who you're right for, you have to think about audience. And I think the arts takes in all of those skills, all of that thing. So I always get upset when people talk about, well, how you gonna make money? Of course you're gonna make money.
You're gonna make money too,
you're gonna make money.
From multiple streams.
You're gonna live. You're gonna see them streams. Yes.
Because if you think about it, all three of us right here, okay, so we all act or do music or in some type of production, but we also teach.
Right.
But we can also give, Michael can give vocal training, Karl can do speech and theater, I can do social work. It's something that is in all of our lives, but I can teach you. I can go to any liberal arts college or a traditional college, whatever. You pick a subject, I guarantee you, I can teach it.
Yes.
I can teach several subjects.
We all are teaching. I mean,
and that's the thing.
if you're Christian, what the Bible talk about, be prophet, priest, and
oh no, me not know that
priest,
one.
king.
Me not know that one.
I mean, and when you think about it, then the expansion is mentorship, right? Like, who are you bringing? Even if you're in the business world, are you amassing all of this wealth and knowledge in the banking sector, in the financial sector, to do what with it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Who are you bringing on? And when you think about even some of these conferences that are around, how do they start? Let's break the ice with an activity.
With an activity.
Where the activity come from, right? And the funeral program, the cultural item. When we're going through extreme, situations like what COVID-19 does for us now, what are we leaning on? We're leaning on the arts.
Yes.
We're leaning on when you going through a lot of crap. What you have to do, you have to write, you have to sing. Even in the musical,
design something.
Them tell you when you do a musical, you have to justify why the person break out into song.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And why that person has to sing, because they're going through something so much that is the only thing that is left for them to do. And it's the same thing right now. COVID a liquid, what we are do. Even in our politics, what is the biggest thing? Dub plate, baby.
Dub plate right now. The arts.
Without the arts.
Yes.
Thing mash up, right? And not just Nico mash up people like whole heap of things are going.
Very good.
But then also even after the debates and stuff, the arts again, because the arts is what's breaking it down for people to absorb it, because all the comedians and different people who are making the commentary
and the memes and all of this thing, that is exactly what it is.
People say, me don't want to watch news. Me want to hear what Dottie Berry has said. About the news. Let me check out Trevor Noah, what Trevor Noah is saying about the news.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
And even as you talk about the COVID thing, it's funny because, again, people not understanding the arts. If I had asked or have asked the conversations I've had with all my friends right now, the people who were in these traditional jobs were the people who freaked out, kind of just like, nah, no work, my money I go down. All the artistic people I know, never they're like, so you not work cause you must not work cause everything locked down. I said, no, all the artistic people, they're still in rehearsals.
Yes.
They're still doing this. They're still producing. They're still production. Them not feel up. I don't know what it is. Well, I do know what it is, but I've asked. The people in traditional office jobs are the ones who felt out of it. And oh my God, me nah know. All my artsy people were just like, no, I'm good. Me there make money. Me have this I do, this I do, this I do.
Right.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's good and bad, right? Because it's a serious thing. A lot of artists are out of work.
Yes.
But a lot of people are out of work, period. And I don't think we have begun to see the effects of this this pandemic and what it's about to do and is doing currently to our financial situation. Like, even those of us lucky enough to still be getting paid, this is just what we're feeling this year.
Right.
We don't know what's coming next
year.
But what we will need to do is to figure out how we're going to center and position mental health.
Oh, yes.
And in order to kind of gird ourselves to combat some of what is about to come, because don't mean to paint the doom and gloom, but I think what we're living in right now is so unprecedented that we're not really sure what's
coming. But you're
coming.
absolutely right, because even in the jobs that we have, the teaching jobs and stuff, it's still kind of precarious because the students might not show up.
Oh, yes.
You know, the students might, because the parents don't have jobs to pay for the things. Some universities are putting their fees up for some reason, and so the students.
It's all sorts of equity issues,
Yes,
right? If one student can't turn on a camera, Wi-Fi, you see all of these memes and people laughing, but it's a serious thing. All of this homework I give online and I'm using my phone. How am I going to do it? If I'm taking a class and I have to, the only room is the bathroom. You know, how is that going to work? And if you're going to force me to turn on my camera, then we're going to have an issue.
Right.
If I can't access, then we're going to have an issue. What are we doing?
Right.
You know, what really are we going to do with this thing called the virtual classroom space? Because not everybody can go virtual.
Trust me.
So what are we saying then? Are we then looking into our concerted effort as a nation to figure out we're going back to the village, we're going back to the community? Because if the picnic can't get a computer turn on, then how are they going to learn? Learning stop? Or are we doing something in our community? Are we going to get together as a village and say, okay, Peter, John, Mary, Kareem, and Shakira need to learn still. How we gonna come together and make them learn on this block in this way?
Yeah.
Maybe something like that.
We're
I don't
give
know.
them access. Because I mean, without the students, we done the job either.
Absolutely.
But that's why we're doing it. Without them, I mean, where are we? It's pointless. Boy, COVID.
That's not necessarily a bad idea though, Karl. I like that village learning idea. And funny enough, you know what that is again? To me, that's art. That's going back to our orator culture, storytelling under the tree. That's how we learn.
Right.
Or we might just have it. And you know, shout out to all of the teachers who, during this thing, had started to do that, because a lot of them I heard, especially in probably the more rural parishes, went back and they went to the communities and they delivered the paper things to people who couldn't have WhatsApp, because we know how Jamaica especially is right now. The access thing now for some people. So you know, we definitely, I like that, and I think it's something we have to look into.
But it's also an opportunity for the government and the other private interests to build out those things in those areas, because even once, let's say, whenever COVID will adjust and something else happens, then you know that infrastructure would have been there, and more things can happen. You know, more things can happen with education, with access, with just people's awareness and growth and expansion in the more rural areas as well. So there's all these possibilities. Really, there's a lot of possibilities happening. You know, it's just that change is always uncomfortable.
It is.
It is, and I think there are too many people trying to wait to see if things are going to go back to normal when we don't want that. That's not what you really want. Don't want to go back to nothing.
You want it better because it wasn't great.
It wasn't
great.
Wasn't great.
No, it was not.
So you want an improvement.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes people are planning. They're making plans, even in the colleges and universities. They're planning for their ideal situation, but you can't do that. You have to plan for the worst situation.
Yeah, Sean.
Because you can always, if the ideal happens, then you can always pare back from the worst scenario and still do it. But it's harder to build into. Yeah. You know, so it's funny because if you don't, then you're going to get caught. Like you're going to be tripping over yourself.
Yeah.
Step by step by step. All right. We talk about COVID enough. Because I mean that is every faculty meeting. So,
Right?
so Karl,
Truly.
so with what is happening with the Black Lives Matter movement, and it's worldwide, but of course it's concentrated in the U.S. Because of all the things with the police brutality against black men in particular, but not just men, and but as a Caribbean person as well. It must be a lot of things happening in your head and in your space and in the communities, because you're coming from a different situation, really. I mean, we would say you're actually even coming from a place of privilege, being in Jamaica and stuff, and then going there and being in that situation, having your students, having your friends, having your all these colleagues who are encountering those situations and who feel deeply about it. And I'm sure you do feel deeply as well. Tell me what's been going on.
Well, first, it's to understand when we say Black Lives Matter, right? Because yes, it is a movement, but it's also an organization, started by women, started by African American women, and it is all encompassing. So when you talk about the situation that's happening in the US, where we're talking about Black life, it really got back before BLM. It goes back before BLM, because when you talk about how I experience blackness and racial prejudice and injustice and all of that, as a Caribbean male, that started when I first went to the United States, New York City, a city I fell in love with, and that prompted me to write the poem "The Black That I Am," because it was back then, in early 2000s. I'm there. First time I went to New York was to audition for a theater program. That was 2002, and then I went back in 2003. And decided to just, take up the offer of friends to stay there and see what it feels like to be an actor hitting the pavement, trying to get work in New York City. And that is when you can only experience what it's like as a black person when you start to live there and when you start to expand your circles.
Right.
And then, although theater is this wonderful binding agent bringing together people of all ethnicities and ages and backgrounds, that's also when you realize a lot about yourself and how you're seen.
Right.
Because until I open my mouth and hold on to this accent that I have and speak pointedly this way, because I can choose not to.
That's right. You can code switch.
You can choose not to, because then you learn how to code switch. And you think that something called assimilation is not going to affect you, when in fact there is this unconscious assimilation that is going to take place whether you like it or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's an argument that I'm putting forward. That's not some people resist it. There are pockets of Jamaica within New York that are very Jamaican. When I go look for my relatives in certain streets, like you feel like you're there, unless it's winter and it's minus, and then you realize you're not at home. And no matter how the curry chicken good or the curry goat good or the accents are authentic, you know that you're not in Jamaica.
Yes.
Because something is always reminding you of that, and you don't realize that. So even though you if you have time think, I'm going to exist differently, this is not going to affect me, what it takes to do that is a lot.
Right.
It takes a lot to exist as a Caribbean person in the United States, presenting it with a certain complexion, color, whatever you call it.
Right.
And decide that whatever the drama is going on around you is not going to affect you.
Right.
And it's not that some people do it successfully. I thought I could do it. No. Because of the friend. And it always has to do with relationships, right?
Yes.
So when you start to develop relationships with friends, with people around you who are African American, who are from different parts of the world, then you realize, wait, you have to take into account their stories.
Yes.
You have to start to see them.
Yes.
You have to start to feel their experiences. So you kind of shut up and listen for a while. And, when you do that, and then when you start to teach and you're dealing with the students in front of you, you realize that your power in the classroom ends at the gate.
Yep.
Because when you step out on the sidewalk, you are no longer a teacher.
Yeah.
You are just a regular black man like that black man. and the person who decides the hierarchy then are people in our authority figures.
Yeah.
Right.
And what you have to there, this whole thing, some people talk about they're scared to death, you're scared to drive, you're scared to walk, you're scared, fear is a thing. And then you have to realize how you present and how fearful you will seem. Like people will tell you, oh, you speak so well. And you're thinking, well, you should speak well too, right? We're in the same program. I want grad school program. We are going to university. So me figure everybody speak well. And then you don't really take that on until you keep hearing it.
Yep.
And like, what going to say?
Yes, yeah.
Why am I hearing this? And then, then you learn later down the line that there are terms for these things, microaggressions and all of that. But in your mind, I'll speak for me. I wasn't thinking no microaggression.
Yeah.
Right.
I wasn't thinking anybody is trying to put me down or nothing. When I enter the space and the security guard give me hell, me used to that from me there.
Yeah, right.
And how I think about it in Jamaica is, I'm only getting hell from this authority figure because I'm not smarty yet.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
So when you become smarty in a Jamaica, then you can move through a ball. So, I was in media. Media did help with that.
Yes.
Yes.
When you're up on TV, people will get
give you
things.
The
away,
smartification of you.
So you get smartified. You're up on billboard. Your face they splatter all over the place.
Right,
you have the tour.
right,
people
right.
get to know your name.
the door's open.
So that's how I entered the space.
Right.
So it had to be a kind of bringing down. It not for bring me down. So when I couldn't get into anywhere first, and the security is like, I'm sorry, I need to see your ID. In my head, I'm like, okay, you don't know me yet.
Right.
When you know me and you get to know me,
You're not gonna ask
you're
me
not
that.
gonna ask me that again.
Yes.
You're not gonna get that problem there. But then you realize other people went through that and it affected them differently.
Yes.
And then you realize why. You realize you were born here. You were being seen a particular way. You were not given the same opportunities. When I speak to some students, so a lot of the times you're really dealing with a lot of people who've been broken down.
Yes,
The
yes,
system
yes.
has consistently told them you are second class, you don't need, you can't get in here, you are this, and everything is just so negative. So is this to build that back up? So a lot of
somewhere inside they start to believe that.
Yes.
They start to believe it.
Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
because, and if you don't mind, when you realize that start to affect you as well, and you have to push. So, people talk about, why is it so many Jamaicans, the moment them get a break, them head back home? I have a theory that's
Recharge.
possibly it.
Yes.
Or you go somewhere, got recharge, right? Because, other friends of mine said there are other places with a beach and a sunset, you don't need to go to Jamaica. You can, there are other places to go. But, I mean, even just that, right? And then you think about, because even, and it's not that it's not here. Because I used to wonder, why is it all of these free events are happening at the National Gallery and the place is not full?
Yes.
Right.
And then you start to think about what an institution like the National Gallery could represent to people who don't consider it welcoming.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's no shade on National Gallery. I love that place. I find it very welcoming, but that's me.
Yes.
Yes.
Me one brown uptown boy.
Yes.
Or people would put that label,
Label on
me.
you. Absolutely.
Right.
Let's take it, let's
Yeah,
take it.
well, we might as well, because
Yeah.
if you start deny that now, at them
somebody
age,
ever said
somebody gonna
something.
Too late now.
them are gonna try it done you. I'm not able. Then can cancel me and what? Whatever.
I mean, it's funny because as Karl was talking, I was thinking about when I lived in the South, when I was doing my master's, and a lot of the things that Karl is saying a while ago is just coming back to me now. And then, you speak so well. You're so eloquent.
Right.
Okay. I didn't know the Jamaicans speak English for you. For you.
Right.
What is it that we spoke?
Yeah.
I mean, that's another, because I had a story where
man.
my scholarship committee wanted me to do the English language test, and I said I'm not. I said, and I literally had to have a conversation. And eventually, I got my way in terms of I said, no, the first language of Jamaica is English. I have a first degree. It should ergo mean that I speak well. I'm not doing an English language test. But that was the other thing. But I mean, I remember, and in the South where it's funny because Southerners are also very polite.
Yes.
So you have this space where racism is very aggressive, but you also have a space where it can be very subtle.
Subtle, right.
Because they're so polite.
Like England.
Right? So, and after a while, I think coming on to the end of when I was one of those Jamaicans who went back home, I used to think my roommates were crazy because everything that happened, they would pull a race card. So we went in a shop and somebody was following us around and, oh, that white girl is following us around. And I said, why do you always have to go to race? Maybe she's just a bitch. Maybe, she is not necessarily, she didn't necessarily have to be following us because she's black. And the longer I stayed, by the time my end I realized you started to see it. You're like, okay, no, this is a race thing. So as Karl was saying, it happens to you as a Caribbean person who maybe your first thought isn't that, but the longer you're in the space, you go, yeah, man, this is something real bad.
It is the serious cancer. It's almost like I really don't know where to begin, and I think that is a lot of people's issue. And when they tell us that they fight long, and my thing to a lot of the Gen Z out there, I love the fight and the energy, but boy, you're in for a long fight.
What?
Because there's so many things that when I was in my 20s, and writing that, I mean, when you write something like The Black That I Am, or you write anything, you don't expect it to be relevant.
Yes.
So many years after.
Right.
You don't expect to be talking about some of these things, but you can put on Bounty Killer, Poor People Fed Up today, and it just resonate. And then you're just like, wait, this thing not leaving us.
No.
This thing is not leaving us, and it's cancerous. And the funny thing is, Mike, I know you always talk about this race, one race, and because some people will tell you, and I've spoken to a lot of academics who believe that they don't think it's useful to discuss race, because if you're gonna take the science of it, it just leads back to the one thing.
Right, exactly.
Where we're not. So a more useful discussion is to talk about
how you present.
The system.
The system.
And the lies that has been perpetuated over the years. Yeah. Like James Baldwin's always talking about,
it is not a myth.
No, it's not James Baldwin. Well, he's fabulous too, so we can quote him all day. But this idea of whiteness.
Yes.
James Baldwin says, why do you need the N-word? Why do you need that person? You have to figure out why you need them.
Yeah.
And Ta-Nehisi Coates is always like, the people who think they're white.
Yes.
And so it's like whiteness is this system.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
That even because I get, sometimes I don't like this notion of trying to, when we create an awards ceremony or something, it needs to be the same as what's up there.
Right.
I'm just like, if you're doing something, just come up with it now.
Yeah.
Come up with it.
And
I understand some people want a seat at the table. That's nice. Some people don't want a table. And I think all the voices need to be valid, because why is it that we're always trying to seem like, when people say, we don't want them to think of us a particular way, like that kind of thing. Like that thinking is just like, that means you're still seeking validation from a system when I want you.
Because the thing is, the white system is interlocked with the black system.
Yes.
Because it's the same system.
I see him system.
It's the same system.
Yeah.
A long time Rasta telling you,
It's the same system.
No, let me tell you, when you're growing up and you hear about Rasta, all these things, and then when you really check it out, you're like, no man, but this is a serious thing.
Yeah.
Somebody was thinking about this thing from a long time. And I understand how it go.
And even if you think about the earlier rejection of a Rasta in Jamaica, it again is because of the system and this wanting to be like and others that is not us. Right. I think Barry Chavans, I'm sorry, Jesus, I hope I'm not misquoting. Either Barry Chavans or Rex Sensiford said, I don't see the problem with Rasta. Black people are just looking for a savior that looks like them. What's the issue here? Why is this problematic? And because Rasta was kind of saying that thing, it's this whole thing of understand we are so tied up in this concept of a white Jesus, or what that is supposed, North American, Eurocentric, supposed to look like, that you reject this thing. You reject this natty head. You reject this back to Africa talk. You reject everything. Why are you rejecting it though? And because it doesn't look like what we are so desperately trying to fit into.
One of the things
2020, we're still here. Little girls are getting blocked from school.
I laugh only because I sometimes have conversations with friends abroad, and I said, what if we were brought up a different way? What if when we were growing up, the idea of going to the United States or the UK was not the popular idea? What if you were kind of taught to think of certain African nations as the pinnacle to reach?
Come on, man.
As the sort of thing, how different it would be our outlook. Because sometimes I'm up there in the States, and yes, I've gotten a lot of opportunities, thank God, the universe for all of them, but sometimes I really wonder. Sometimes I look and I say, what am I there? Sometimes you just walk and you're just like, and then you realize, all right, this is it. That's why I tell people, I say, any decision you make, it'll go follow you, right? If you decide today, if you decide say you're gonna write one poem, watch it, because that could be your legacy.
Yes.
Today, if you decide say you're gonna team up with your friend, we sit down there and say, you know what, let me start something now. You can never tell where it will go.
True.
You can never. When they talk about word is power and thoughts are power. Remember, me tell you. It's serious when you make a decision, because then sometimes it's hard to dial it back.
Yeah.
Because the old me would have depend. All right, me done with New York now. Bye. Done with this. My bye. But then you realize, you get to a point and you're just like, okay, you have to start set roots somewhere. You have to start the something. But then and where I'm now is rethinking. Like you realize that so much a part of you is when they talk about never string cut somewhere.
Right.
You realize say you never string cut to Jamaica. Don't resist that. You have to walk with that. And so many spaces have been open to me because of that difference.
Yes.
Because of that. You let into certain rooms just because you are the Jamaican in the room.
Yes. So some of the experiences that you both spoke about that you had when you were studying in the US, I didn't have those experiences. When I was in Boston, I never had any of those experiences. As a matter of fact, I don't think people knew where I was from. They didn't know.
You could be Hispanic, friend.
So I was. So a lot of times I was Puerto Rican. If I wasn't that, I was Hawaiian, or I was
Samoan.
Indian.
Please to use Latinx.
Yes, Latinx.
Because some people say no, them not he's nothing.
Yes.
So,
but even when I was with the ice show and I was traveling, sometimes people ask, where are you from? Italy, where are you from? I never had those experiences. I still had people once I said this is where I'm from, who would assume certain things.
Yes.
And that would upset me. It's like, oh, so where are your locks? Or where are where you don't smoke? How come you don't smoke?
Indeed.
Kind of thing. I was like, what? Especially coming from a family where nobody does smoke, and none of your friends don't smoke nothing. I was like, what? No, so so those things used to get in my craw.
Yeah.
Right.
Bob Marley's your president. He's dead. What are you talking about?
So you know the Marleys? No.
Actually, I do.
Actually, yes.
We do. But I'm just saying, that's weird.
Yeah, we don't want to feel like everybody in Jamaica know everybody.
Right.
That's not it. The fact that we do know famous people is just, it's because of who we are. We turn up, so we know people. But,
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But boy, I don't know, because probably if you thought about just different things, if you had a different kind of education, because and going back to the teaching, it really is important who is teaching you.
Oh yes,
because if you didn't have that particular teacher in your life that exposed you to certain things, then you would never know. Or if you had the parents, right? Thank God I had the parents who wanted to take me who exposed me to the arts, to everything. Right. But when you don't have parents who can't do that, because some parents may want to but can't do it, then you have to think about the teaching and the teacher who exposes you to that.
Yes.
And a lot of people believe that. And sometimes I see in Twitter people talk about why don't teach Garvey? Garvey is not on the curriculum. Garvey dep on the curriculum. Garvey is a part of it. It's just for you to enact it.
Right.
Actually, that teacher, when I taught in high school, I took people to Liberty Hall. I took classes to Liberty Hall, right? You just have to be that teacher that is going to figure out how are you going to expose students differently and take in all their learning styles.
But do you think we were lucky too in terms of the education we had when we were growing up here? I know it wasn't perfect, but it's definitely night and day.
Oh no,
I was very fortunate.
Oh, come on.
Super fortunate.
I think about it all the time. I'm like, all of us right here sitting around this table are products of the fact that of the Jamaican education system.
Because we knew about
Listen,
our history.
as much as we cuss it, man, I'm telling you, there were some teachers I had that just ignited a flame for all sorts of things and just made you curious.
Because I remember being in prep school and we said, okay, we're going to Hero Circle, and there's a trip to Hero Circle. We had to enact these different heroes, or we're going to the Arawak Museum, which is a Taino museum, and then we're doing Shakespeare. So all of those things were on the same
level. We're doing it. Yeah,
man, global.
I mean, even if you think about it, I remember when I was in prep school. And there was a whole stint that it was very common for a lot of the prep and primary schools. So no feel like me I take anybody out where they were doing trips to Cuba. Does anybody remember that?
And Mexico.
Schools, children.
Hello, please.
Mexico.
I didn't get to go. I didn't go to Cuba till I was a grown woman.
They were going to Mexico from my.
But they went. But even when you think about something, you're like, oh my God, there are places in the world, America, for example, that never mind. Some of them have never been outside of the damn state that they were born in.
True.
Much less the rest of the place. The type of exposure we got, and again, history, geography, anything like that. In school, we can all identify moments where we were taught world geography, world history. Yeah. Americans, for example, not picking on let me just say, they are taught American history. They are taught American geography.
And that's why the pushback.
Not the full picture of
and
that's why there's a pushback. Before
Yeah.
it used to be hip hop that was teaching people black history, right? And now I think that's why, and it's hard to see the change, but it is changing because you have a lot of people right now in the system infiltrating the system, and it has to be said that way, that you're infiltrating
the system.
because that's exactly what we're doing, right? When you have all of these strict measures coming down, it's the same thing in Jamaica. When you hear said this is the curriculum, this is a thing, you as a teacher have to know how to get and all of us, one of the things I did learn when I did the debate at UA is to be honest that you're a human being going in with an agenda.
Yes.
And what is your agenda that you're going in with? And you can't I don't enter a classroom and throw down everything what I believe on a student. But you have to know how to scaffold and strategize.
Right.
And when you present, like, what your PowerPoint look like, what are the images on that PowerPoint?
And
because
why?
that tells you a
How
lot,
inclusive
right?
and how
When you go to the pharmacy and you buy the picture frame, it's always like a white family.
Right.
Yes.
That not depend on my PowerPoint.
Right.
There is
Not at all.
my default is going
I'm
to
there with you,
always
Karl.
be every single complexion I got represented.
Yes.
Me looking at the room, and especially you have to look at the people that are most vulnerable in the room.
Right. And
Have to look at it.
they can see themselves reflected somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even when somebody asks me to come and speak, their standard questions I ask: who am I speaking to? What's the male-female ratio? Any vulnerable groups? It's like because you have to know who it is that you're speaking to, because you can't come in there and assume that, for example, I'm only talking to people who understand social work concepts, or I'm only talking to people who understand arts. And as a matter of fact, Karl was saying, "What's your agenda as a person?" I know for a fact that I go in there with an understanding of, I am going to tout inclusivity.
Right.
I am touting social justice. I am touting those, because I guess that's a part of my agenda.
Right.
Because, and for me, it is, and you have to present the balance between all of those things. But as he's saying it, I'm like, that's really true. That's an awesome piece of statement.
For me, and maybe this might be problematic, but I'm just anti-stupidity.
Indeed.
So what if you come into my classroom with foolishness?
Yeah.
I'm going to call you out.
We're gonna have that discussion.
So no gal deville, that don't make no sense. Stop it. That is foolishness.
Yes.
Right? Stop using that word about these people.
Yeah.
It
don't make no sense.
It don't make sense. It's not right. Don't do it.
Oh yeah.
It's so interesting
I'm
because
glad.
for me, I would want to have the conversation. So let's unpack Galdeville.
Galdeville.
Let's unpack that. How did we get to Galdeville? Let us look at the word, and why are we so against the man in the word?
There with you.
There used to be this Calypso song we said, we kill all the men, all that remain is women. And I said, but you're a man though.
But you're a man.
So if you kill all the men, you're dead.
You're dead too. So I never complete the thought. Well, he was taking himself out of their stupidity and said, them are going to kill them one another and you're going to be more women for me.
Just an opportunity to explore metaphor.
Metaphor.
That's all it is.
Oh my gosh.
Usually, I don't bring up the problematic things. They bring it up.
They do.
And I'm like, from your say to know, that is licensed for me. For me. So
yes.
we are going to talk about it because I want to bring it up.
And this what is amazing about Gen Z is that they're not shy. They'll bring it,
Me love them.
And and like no, it's true. Some of our generation or Jennifer, they would come into the room with teachers are this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's why I didn't call it generation.
We're what? X?
I'm not.
I mean, really. We're not.
I was born when I was born.
I was born when I was born, and if I'm being Z or whatever today, then
that's it. Well, those people who kind of came with this concept of teacher student and no, you can't question the teacher, or if the teacher says something and disagree, they back down. Them, no. One of their beauty is them ready.
But I love that.
Me too.
I love that.
Miss why?
Because I feel like,
ask me why.
I think I came from a particular time where I bought into the dues paying thing and the shut up and take it, and you're in the industry, you see people come before you have no voice.
None.
And so this whole, as I said before, the smartization, you have to wait.
Yes.
For somebody regard you as somebody before you say anything. And I think a lot of my career in theater has just been kind of like, let me just sit down and wait my turn, and then you realize where I do. No, you have to charge your thing. You somebody asked me, I'm gonna see a Broadway. Sometimes I don't want to depend on that. Sometimes it's not that I don't think I have the talent to be there, but other things, other things catch you, and sometimes I have the concentration or the attention span of a gnat. So I am the person who may I walk on a path and I miss one little light over there. So over there. So
that's interesting. Yeah.
And I just like something is dancing, and some people might be like, no, then you have to stay on the straight and narrow and structured. If you know me, straight and narrow is not me. So
And can you just imagine?
I have no regrets.
They don't understand that you kind of tying yourself to a Broadway production, mean that you could be doing one thing for 10 years.
But this is why some people leave too,
yes.
right? And it's great to get that. And what I thank pantomime for my time there that was the closest thing to Broadway, just because of the rigor, the discipline. You had to, you were working from Tuesday to Sunday sometimes when in its heyday, and I got that experience.
Yeah, right.
You get the experience,
you get the discipline. Yeah,
and that's why I like the I show as well, because I've done that. You tour 7 months every year for 3 years, but you're away from everybody else.
Yes,
you're disconnected from the place where you're actually living, so you don't have those. You lose those connections in a way. So, but I mean, you're doing your stuff, and you're impacting people, and you're learning, and you're making money, and whatever. Yeah. But it's a big commitment.
It is
to go. Okay, I'm going to leave everybody I know and everything I know, and go and do this thing for 3 years. Or for 10 years, even worse. So
I mean, physically, I remember it might have been Jermaine Rowe. I think he was saying one of the reasons too, when he realized, even as a dancer, you play, for example, the zebra, and you're playing this, you're using the same muscles.
Yes.
For 10 years, 5 years, whatever.
You become a
if
zebra.
If you don't take out yourself and go to a hip hop or ballet or something class, the rest of your body becomes blah.
Yeah.
Because that is the only thing you're working year after year after year after year. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing with your mind. It's the same thing with any talent or anything that you've been given.
That, but I feel like a lot of artists are not. We're just not wired that way, right? Like I have had the experience of changing my body physically for a role.
Oh yes.
I promise somebody to me I do that again, unless you pay me, right? So if you want a particular look and the money not right, fine. And I think I've earned the right to be far more discerning in my choices and what I'm doing. So I'm not in the space anymore where I feel like every single script will come my way. I need to say yes to it. Because there comes a lot with that.
God bless me. Me is out of order. Even though me never really in the beginning of this acting thing, I was always one of those persons. Talk about paying dues. Some of the things that me never do, because there are some scripts and some people that came to me. I was like, they're like, oh no, but you can't make your name. No, I'm good. Yeah. I'm good, thanks. Because there are just some roles that I was never going to do.
Well, everybody wasn't running to me with scripts because they never look a certain way.
You never look.
So most of the things I'm going to do right specifically for me.
No, but talk about it, Michael, because again, even in that type of thing, I think I have probably done, this is probably going to shift the conversation, but that's okay. I did one role where somebody considered that you know who I want you to play? The lead love interest.
Right.
Because I'm not that. I am the anti-look.
Right.
All right.
I'm the anti-look
Yes.
or the mommy look
Yes.
or the something. One production, and it wasn't a full-length production where somebody said, you, big up Nadine Rollins, you,
Yes.
I want you to play the young, sexy love interest.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
because
said,
you love
really?
too. Yeah, because
Yes.
you can love
Because
too.
you can love,
Yeah.
I'm
And
always,
people put you in these boxes.
I'm always a brown uptown.
Yes.
You know, clueless. You know, a person who has no real connection with source.
Yes.
That's usually the role I get.
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
the anti-hero.
The anti-
Lord, I cannot truthfully say anything because I really have been fortunate to play a wide variety of characters. But yes, Michael, you're right. If you're performing in Jamaica, there's something about casting that I think is an issue, and it's an issue worldwide, and it's something that is being revisited now.
Yeah.
In this time, people are now speaking out about it
Yes.
and how they're being cast and how they're being viewed, and this whole notion of type is now being interrogated. And the switch is moving towards, well, who are you?
Right.
Who are you? Instead of saying, what type, you're this type and blah, blah, blah. Like, I think the younger generation of performers and actors are now starting to push back and just be like,
Good.
no. Let's talk about who I am. Who I am as a performer, who I am as an artist. And it may seem as if, presumptuous. Who are you to tell this name theater, insert name here, that you can be that? If they don't get on that bandwagon, they're going to find themselves out.
That's right.
If you're following any of the news about any of these theaters around the world now,
They're being called out.
they're being called out left, right, and center.
Yeah.
So it's time for a serious change and reckoning. Yeah, man.
All right, I wanted to wrap this up because we need to hang out other than doing this podcast.
Yes.
Yes.
So just give me your favorite recent hashtags. One of mine is problematic. Cancel is another one.
Oh my God, no! I have to go with all of the ones that cannot be said, and
Just say that.
then
we can put a disclaimer.
I've got to say, whoever come up with the Nika mash up my life.
Yes.
You have mashed up my life because that song is in my head all the time.
You know what's in my head? There's some holes in this house. There's some holes in this house. That's what's in my head.
Wap, wap, wap.
Oh God.
Listen, right? Like where the Pen Pan Cardi B and Megan Farias were pitting them. Listen, a long time underfrack song I played.
Yes.
Long time. I would just like to say.
Come on. There's nothing,
And you had to
new.
hide and learn them. Professor Nuts, big up yourself.
Right?
But the parents couldn't know that we knew you.
That's right. But even before Professor.
Hello. Please.
come on.
Stop it.
Yes. So any hashtag?
I'm here.
You're
People,
looking.
I am looking because I am not one of those, social media
That's fine.
people, and I don't even have a hashtag. Some more time I make up hashtags.
Yeah, I make up mine too.
I make up
Never
them.
met them up,
Hashtag
man,
Queen
know.
Things.
Yes, yes.
Queen Things, right.
Queen Things, yes. I'm not one of them right now. But the mash up my life, the cancel, the problematic,
Yes.
all
I
of
love
those
them.
things. Yeah. Just any one of them. Look at you.
Yes.
Look at you.
Hashtag look
at you.
You know, I like the abbreviations for the Jamaican curse words, like hashtag TPC.
Listen, you know my favorite hashtag with that, right? And shout out to Spice.
Yeah.
GSYM.
Yes. Love it. It gaff, I love that one.
Yeah, good.
All right, cool.
Yes,
this
for real.
this was fun, guys.
Yes.
Black
it
Lives
was.
Matter, Black Trans Lives Matter, all Black Lives Matter.
All
Sorry.
black.
Had to throw that in there.
Say it again.
Black Lives Matter, hashtag all Black Lives Matter, and hashtag Black Trans Lives Matter.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because they just do.
That's right. Cool. Thanks, guys. Bye. Thanks again for joining me on this episode of Mike's Moment of. And I don't always do this, but I'm going to do it this time. This is the call to action. If you feel like supporting me and what I'm doing in any way, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/AilSean, and there's a link in the show notes. And you can support. You can give a tip or, quote unquote, buy a coffee. And if you haven't already subscribed to the podcast, go to Apple, Google, Spotify, and click that subscribe button. And, the book is out there. Mike's pocket performance pointers, and also the latest single in the Folkbeats and Blipspeak collection, which is All Forgiven. So you can go and check those out. All the links will be in the show notes. Until next time, take care.